down 572 points. The S&P 500 was down 58 points, and the Nasdaq plunged 161 points, in step with the massive volatility. For now, it's still just a lot of tough talk on both sides of the Pacific, so might the markets have it wrong? Is there hope Washington and Beijing can negotiate? Gordon Chang is the author of The Coming Collapse of China, one of the experts on China, and it is good to see you this morning. Thanks so much for joining us, Gordon.
Thanks, Maria.
Is this the right tack that the president is taking?
Oh, it's absolutely true. You got to remember that what China is doing, especially for the last 6 or 7 years, especially under Xi Jinping, the current ruler, is become especially pernicious. They've been closing off their markets, attacking foreign companies, also attacking domestic private companies. So, you know, this is really Xi Jinping's emphasis on state enterprises, and this is completely unsustainable. As the president said on Friday, if he could ignore it, but he wouldn't be doing his job. So he's doing absolutely the right thing.
But the markets are getting nervous about this. They think this is going to result in a trade war. Initially, Peter Navarro, the trade director at the White House, told me we're not going to see a lot of reciprocation. We're not going to see Beijing come out and say that we want to tax you, but we have seen that. That's what we are seeing. So is this the beginning of a trade war?
Well, I think the trade war has gone on for a very long time, for decades, but certainly it's the beginning of a tit-for-tat phase of that trade war, and we're going to probably see more of it. If this were just a matter of economics, there'd be no trade friction. The Chinese know that they would be overwhelmed by the United States. But this is not just a matter of economics. It's a matter of Chinese politics. Xi Jinping, the Chinese ruler, has accumulated absolute power or close to absolute power. That means he becomes responsible for everything. If you have a problem in a trade with the United States, he knows that he's got to intimidate us. So he's going to use all of his power and authority to go after us. So this could get ugly.
Look, the president said, I never said there was not going to be pain. There may be short-term pain, but long-term, we're going to be in a better position as a country. So right now, I know that China has like 10 industries out there that they're off limits to foreigners. Right. You can't even get 49%. And if you do end up getting a position and a foothold in China, you can only own 49% of a joint venture. Is that the kind of restrictions you want to see in the U.S.? Because I know you're a free markets guy. Right. So how much of the government bite do you want to see here? Well,
I think we have to have some reciprocal relations, which means if they put a tariff of 25% on our cars, our tariffs have to go up to 25%.
Right now, it's 25% versus 2.5%. Yeah, it nuts like that, right?
It makes no sense, the deal that was negotiated in prior administrations. The other thing, though, is it's technology. The Chinese have been closing off their tech sector. We've got to do the same things. It's really unfortunate. No one wants to do it. But we're seeing, I think, a new attitude, not only on the part of Republicans, not only on the part of the president, but Democrats as well, that we need to protect our tech startups and our tech companies, because this is where the competition for China and the United States is going to be played out. Yeah, trade is important, but it's going to be who owns 5G, quantum computing, quantum communications, and artificial intelligence.
This is a really good point, because I've got a report here that says that China has now been participating in up to 10% of venture capital deals in the United States. They're basically just putting their money there so that they could invest in these companies, but ultimately get the secrets and the technology of some of the most important industries of tomorrow, like AI, like robotics, like shipping, all of these things that are supposed to drive growth here.
Yeah, you know, absolutely. And, you know, the Chinese have been doing this while they close off their market to ours. And so this is just completely unreciprocal. The president talks about reciprocal trade relations. We're going to have to do something. We're going to have to work a little harder, sacrifice a little more, because the president is fighting for the future of our country.
So is it just China that's really the bad actor here? Because initially the president came out with those steel and aluminum tariffs, which caused a lot of debate about whether or not we should be, you know, punishing all of the jobs of the companies that input aluminum and steel to save the two aluminum and steel industries.
Yeah, the Section 232 tariffs, which you're talking about, are essentially, I think, a national security issue, meant really to protect the U.S. industrial base, because we're not making a lot of the steel and aluminum that the Defense Department uses. And I know this is a long-term concern, and I know that it's not defensible from a trade point of view, but from a national security one, I think we have to look at it in a different way.
All right, we will leave it there. Gordon will be watching the developments. Great to talk with you.
Thanks, Maria.
Thank you so much. Gordon Chang joining us there. We're going to take a break, and then when we come back, reports of a horrific chemical attack against innocent civilians in Syria this morning. Rescue workers say dozens of people have been murdered overnight. Should that influence the president's decision to withdraw our military from Syria within months, as he has discussed recently? I'm going to talk with House Armed Services Committee Chairman